Hello, I'm Megan McGurman.
And I'm Michael Chesney. Welcome to another episode of For the Love of Health, brought to you by ChristianaCare.
If you're injured or not feeling well, you'd likely seek out medical interventions for healing.
But have you ever experienced healing through energy therapy?
Well, here today to talk to us about this type of healing is Stacey Noel, Nursing Integrative Care Nurse Manager here at ChristianaCare. Stacey, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So can you start by explaining to us what energy therapy and integrative care are?
Let's start with energy therapy. There's a lot of different forms of energy therapy that have been around for hundreds of years. Some individuals are very familiar with Reiki. There's other therapies as well, such as quantum touch, therapeutic touch, healing touch, and then also too things like Tai Chi, Qigong, acupuncture, and acupressure can also be considered energy therapy practices. With energy therapy practices, the individual comes from a heart center, having a beautiful intention to help that individual heal. They use energy techniques that will help to clear, balance, and restore harmony in the energy system of the individual. It can help on all levels of the person's healing. So it could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional, or spiritual. And then talking about integrative care, that is just implementing holistic modalities into your life. So examples of integrative care modalities are mindfulness practices. So just taking a moment, focusing on our breathing, helping us to relax. Some other ones, meditation, yoga, exercise, nutrition, aromatherapy, qigong, energy practices. There's lots of different things out there that can be integrative care that you integrate into your care of yourself.
And how is this different than, let's say maybe people have heard the phrase alternative medicine?
Over time, terminology changes. We have the National Institute of Health, which is part of the government, and one of their programs is the National Complementary and Integrative Healthcare Program. At one point in time, they had the word alternative in there, but they felt that it was important to take that out because it's not alternative. It's something that can be integrated into our traditional Western medicine. I'm actually a Reiki master. I also started to learn healing touch in 2012. I fell in love with healing touch. And one of the reasons I did is because it's actually created by a nurse, Janet Menken, here in the United States. Janet, being the nurse that she was, felt that it was so important that the Healing Touch program mirrors our nursing and medical profession to have a scope of practice, code of ethics, core curriculum taught by certified instructors. So everybody learned the same thing when they took the class.
Who is most likely to benefit from this type of care?
Anybody can really benefit from energy therapy, whether it's healing touch or one of the other practices. It's research proven. It really relaxes the individual. It can help decrease pain, anxiety, stress, nausea. It can help lessen side effects from cancer treatments. It can help with insomnia and many other things.
How common is this across the country or across the world in other health systems?
It's not that common. There are a number of facilities that do provide integrative care and energy therapies. For healing touch, it's used in at least over 50 hospitals that we know of. And then Reiki is used probably at least in 100 hospitals, if not more. And then integrative care programs are definitely implemented in different healthcare systems. And some examples is that it's used at the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, right up the road from us at Nemours Hospital for Children. They also too have a healing touch and an integrative care program for their patients there.
What does the research say about the effectiveness and the efficacy of healing touch?
There's a lot of research about integrative care modalities in general. There's many studies that show the use of aromatherapy is very effective in decreasing nausea, promoting relaxation and sleep. Also, too, things like mindfulness practices, focusing on that breath can really help individuals as well. Talking about healing touch and other energy therapies, there's a study on using healing touch after somebody's had their knee replaced, and that study showed that they had a decrease in pain. Another study is one of using healing touch after someone has had coronary open heart bypass surgery. The patients had decreased stress and anxiety, and it also decreased their length of stay. There's other research studies regarding cancer care And then excitingly enough, I was able to do research here at ChristianaCare on the use of healing touch and how it affected the stress levels of our nurses who took class and then used healing touch techniques. That research has shown that it helped the individuals to feel more calm, centered, that they could handle life's stressors a lot easier. They felt less anxious and stressed. So great positive outcomes from the research study that we've done here at ChristianaCare.
So let's talk more about your healing touch work here at ChristianaCare. You're teaching classes to caregivers. Is it just nurses or is it an open class for everyone?
Any caregiver at ChristianaCare is welcome to take class. And the class is a 2 8-hour-day class, which is a lot of time. But what I did is I broke those 2 days of classes up. So I teach the day one class in one week, and then the other day is 2 weeks later. This way it doesn't disrupt staffing, whether it's on a unit or the individual might be coming from an outpatient office or other areas in the hospital. In class, it's wonderful. It's a very experiential class, and so it's not about just sitting there and taking things in. You're going to practice everything that you learn in class. And so they learn a total of 12 techniques. They'll get up and they'll practice the techniques with each other. So they're comfortable when they leave, knowing on what to do, first of all, but they also receive the energy work. And so it's very relaxing and healing for them in class. Everybody loves coming to class. So talking about who has come to class, so yes, the majority have been nurses, but I've also had physical therapists, occupational therapists, I've had respiratory therapists, I've had nurse leaders, I've had managers and assistant managers come to class. One of the benefits of the Healing Touch program is that it does award nurses continuing education credits, and that gives them 16 credits, which is about over half of what we need for renewing our license for the state of Delaware.
And what has the feedback been like after these caregivers take the class? Are they then using it on each other or on their patients?
Individuals who take class can actually use that as part of their self-care. So if they're not feeling well, they can use techniques to improve the way that they feel. But yes, they can also use it with their friends, family members, and they can use it with their colleagues. So maybe a colleague might have a headache. They can do a technique to help them improve the way that they feel. And then most importantly, we can use it with our patients at the bedside. Besides having had about 200 caregivers come through class, I also receive consults for providing healing touch services to our inpatients.
How do you explain healing touch to a patient? How do you offer the opportunity?
When I see patients, I explain that healing touch is a form of energy therapy, and the first thing that it does is it promotes relaxation. Most individuals are stressed when they're in the hospital, so they look forward to finding a way to relax. I also would have looked at the patient's chart and also know about what's going on with them. So the consult might be for pain management or for other things. And so I specifically talk to the individual about how it can benefit them. So if it is for pain management, how it can decrease their pain. The patients have all been very open to experiencing and receiving healing touch. They've said that they feel better mentally, emotionally, and physically. So it's really helped them during their hospital stay. And then also, too, I get to round on our different hospital campuses and locations, and I provide what's called caring cart services. And so with that, I provide mini healing touch sessions to our caregivers wherever they're at. So I do healing touch in nurses' stations, in offices, out and about. And so those individuals love to just take 3 minutes of time with me to receive a mini healing touch session. I have this one particular nurse in the emergency department that when she sees me coming around the corner, she puts down all of her stuff, gets comfortable in her chair, and ready to receive healing touch. The techniques help to relax her, decreasing her stress, and helping her to feel so much better in the day.
How important is it for the people taking the class to be able to not only learn how to do it, but to experience it themselves while they're learning?
It is very important for them to experience what it feels like. So that way they can explain to whoever they're providing healing touch to on the effectiveness of it. Plus, they also see how important it is for them to receive that same energy, and it helps them to relax and to heal on whatever level that they need to.
It's a very different experience because an orthopedic surgeon isn't going to know what it's like necessarily to have their knee replaced. but this is care you can provide that you can actually experience yourself, and it helps to kind of bridge that gap between patient and caregiver.
It does. And then honestly, too, this gives another way for our caregivers to care for patients. There are some patients that have an extreme amount of pain and they've received all of the pain medication that they are allowed to have. And so this gives the caregiver something else to do for them and to help them decrease their pain. Or it could be stress, or it could be anxiety, it could be nausea.
If someone is listening to this podcast but doesn't have access to you and your work, our Healing Touch classes outside of here, are there any takeaways that you could share that maybe they could practice in their daily life?
One of the things that we teach in Healing Touch is a way to become centered and grounded. And so we center with our breath. And so just taking that nice deep breath in and out. And as you breathe out, as you exhale, just let go of anything that you don't need. It creates room for new things to come to you. And then as you're breathing in, just breathe in, feel that new energy and that light coming into you. And so grounding is being physically present in your body and in the moment. And so what we do is we use imagery or imagination, and imagine that you have beautiful roots like a tree coming out of your feet and going into the earth. When those roots are in the earth, that energy is coming back up from the earth into those roots and into the bottom of your feet. And then you experience and feel the energy coming up into your legs and to your body. That helps you to feel physically present in your body and grounded and connected to the earth. Again, it brings you back to being in your body and present, and it helps to take away of that feeling of being scattered. The third part of that concept of the meditation is to attune or tune in. And so just tuning into yourself. What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? You can also tune into others. We do this all the time. The fourth part of that is also setting an intention. So an intention is a thought, and our thoughts are energy, and energy follows our thoughts. So an example of an intention is, I'm going to have a wonderful day today. My day is going to go smoothly, easily, and effortlessly. So those are examples of intentions. So again, you can easily center with your breath, ground with your roots, tune into yourself and others, and then set your intention. That's a quick and easy practice that you can do in a matter of moments. You can use this practice before you walk into a patient's room, before a meeting, before having a difficult conversation with somebody.
So you have brought some of your tools here with you today. Anyone listening to this podcast will let you know that there is a bowl here full of folded paper. What exactly is that? I know I've seen you out and about with these before.
Yes, this bowl of folded papers is positive affirmations. Those positive affirmations are fun to pick up one and just draw it out of the bowl. It's kind of like a fortune cookie, but without the cookie. And usually the right positive affirmation always finds the person who picks one up.
All right. You ready to do this,
Yeah,
Michael?
Yeah, let's grab one. I like this one right here.
All right. You go first.
Okay. I will not let my thoughts control the way I feel.
Oh, that's a good one. Mine is, every experience in my life helps me grow. Thank you, Stacy.
Okay.
These were great.
Great way to end the episode.
Absolutely. Stacy, thank you so much for your time and for your tips. And I'm sure so many people will feel a little bit more grounded after this episode.
Thank you so much.
And we'll have more information about Healing Touch and Integrative Care in our show notes for this episode. You can get those at ChristianaCare.org/podcasts.
And don't forget to subscribe to For the Love of Health on your favorite podcast app and follow ChristianaCare on social media.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with another great conversation.
Until then, thanks again for joining us.
For the love of health.